It's the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Very excited to get into this episode. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. It'll help us a lot and help us spread this message around the world. Here with me today, I have Jeremy and Joshua Mathis out of Miami. Fellas, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Bro, thank you so much for having us, man. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like you said, bro, really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to share our story with your audience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So first, introduce yourselves. Let the people know who you are and what you guys do.
I'm Jeremy Mathis. I'm the good-looking twin. And I'm Joshua Mathis. I'm the twin that makes the magic happen. So we're born and raised in Miami, Florida. Been serial entrepreneurs all of our lives. We had some businesses that has done very well, and then we had some that have failed. Fell into real estate maybe 5 years ago. Started off wholesaling, jumped into fixing and flipping, then started raising private money to buy rentals. Did some ground up development. Now we do it all. So from Airbnb, fixing and flip, wholesaling, anything involving real estate, we've done it.
Definitely. So you mentioned that you had some businesses you started and then got into real estate. How did you get into real estate? Like, what was it about real estate that was like, you know what, this is what we're gonna do next?
You want the truth, or you want the truth?
Let's get the truth.
So we had a cleaning company before we got into real estate, and one of the investor who helped us start the cleaning company, we had a meeting with him. Long story short, we complained a lot. He said, "God, sell the company." At the time, growing up, I grew up in the hood. I didn't know anything, and I thought the only thing you sell was clothes, shoes, and drugs, right? So he said, "Man, sell the company. You guys create something of value." Long story short, we put the company on the market. And then before we ever did a real estate deal, we paid 2 mentors $70,000 to teach us how to do real estate. Again, $70,000. One of them we paid $55,000. We learned nothing at all. The other person that taught us everything we knew, we paid them $15,000. And we did our first real estate deal. We made $19,500. And we called the broker, told him, "You got 1 week to sell the company," which is that cleaning company. He sold the company, and we've been doing real estate now for the past 5 years.
Wow. So take us a couple of things I want to unpack there. A lot of people are afraid to move on to different businesses. So it sounds like the cleaning company was pretty successful, but it also sounded like it just wasn't what you wanted to do. Can you guys talk to us more about that moment where you're like, you know what, he said sell it. Let's probably do that.
So we started and sold the cleaning business within 18 months. So from start to sales, 18 months total. I'm talking about a brand new business. And when we started it, we was excited because the idea was to franchise the model. We specialize in cleaning medical and dental offices. So we was able to charge a 30% premium more than like a mom and pop cleaning company. And the guy who was our investor, he wanted to, he wanted to franchise it because he had a franchising background. So we was doing it, we was making okay money. But in that time period, we had hired and fired 29 people. Wow. Because when you have a cleaning company, you're dealing with $10 an hour employees. At that point, you become the doctor, the lawyer, the baby mama, the cousin, the upset attorney, whatever. And, every day, and at that time we was 22, 23. So we had no experience in managing employees. So we just got really fed up with the company, and it's important. And we always tell people it's important to have a mentor in your life. And at that time, that investor was our mentor. And he still is our mentor to this date. And when we came into his office, we were telling him about the business, and he said, "Guys, you hate the business, so you need to sell it." And at that time, we thought that, hey, we started the company, we need to keep going, we need to keep pushing forward. But just having his guidance, he led us to say, "Hey, sell the company." And then that's how we jumped into real estate.
Gosh, you'll never make money if you're not passionate about what it is that you do. It'll be a job and it'll be a drag on you. Sell the company. Those are his words. I remember it. So,
wow. So take us to that first deal, the first real estate transaction you ever did.
So the mentor that we paid $15,000, he was the one that taught us everything, and he taught us how to wholesale real estate. For those that don't know what wholesaling is, it's basically getting the property under contract and selling your rights to that contract. So we learned how to wholesale on the MLS, which is agents, realtors involved. So we had been making calls. We had been submitting offers and making calls for 3 straight months. I'm talking about 9 to 5 every day, submitting 10 offers a day, so 20 offers combined,
Wow.
and calling to follow up on those
And
offers.
still working in the cleaning company too.
Still working in the cleaning company. So we were grinding, trying to make it happen. And after 3 months, we finally got our first deal under contract. And it was really 2 that we got 2 properties under contract at one time. We sold the first one in a month of getting it under contract, and the other one, it took us an additional like 3 or 4 months to sell that one because we made every mistake possible. But on both of those deals, we made the first one we made 19,500, and the other deal that we got under contract, I think we made like 17, 18,000 on it. But that first deal, 19,500, was proof of concept for us, and that made us realize that, oh, this is possible. We gotta scale this and do it big time.
Definitely. And one thing you mentioned that's interesting, I don't think I've heard it before. You mentioned that you started wholesaling off the MLS. Like a lot of times, wholesaling, people talk a lot about off-market deals and things of that nature. It's not very often. I've never heard of someone wholesaling off the MLS and still being able to make money. So can you talk a bit more about how you were able to learn that?
This was 2016. So in 2016, it was still a lot of deals on the MLS. You still can do it off the MLS today. We know guys that do it. We still do it a little bit, but not as much. But in 2016, it was still a lot of, good deals on market. And it was just where we became good at was what people didn't want to do, which is the follow-up. So you send the offer out, and 9 times out of 10, it's not going to get accepted because it was super low. But what our mentor taught us was, hey guys, you just got to keep following up on those deals. And most of the deals that we did was offers we submitted 2 months, 3 months ago. It was just that the seller had gotten tired of going through contract after contract and people are not closing. And we just kept every 2 weeks, hey, we sent you an offer. Are you interested in it? Nope, we're not interested in it. Call back again in 2 weeks, and then again in another 2 weeks. And then before you know it, that deal those deals fell into our lap.
But the biggest thing, though, that we want to point out to your audience is that people need to understand in any business, specifically in real estate, and I know this to be a fact, all your money is made in the follow-up. Whether you're doing deals on the MLS, and agents are involved, or if you're direct to seller, all your money is made in the follow-up. We have like 4 sequences in our CRM system just to follow up with one lead. So they're getting hit text message, emails. They're getting contacted from a phone number and a separate phone number. So for us, we're constantly contacting people, trying to follow up with them.
Definitely. So we're still very early, like 10 minutes in. There's something I'm picking up. You two are very persistent.
Oh God!
You gotta be. One thing. Like, I mean, I'm not the best athlete, may not be the best looking, but persistence is key. Like, I think that's a major part of success because we've had many failures in our lives. I don't even want to call them failures, it's lessons. But we just keep going because we know that you win when you don't give up. It's just that simple.
Definitely. And there's something I'm thinking about. You mentioned just a few minutes ago, you said you paid one mentor $55,000, and the one who actually is still your mentor is $15,000. After that experience with the first mentor who just didn't really help, why didn't you quit? Why did you keep going?
I had to pay that money back. My credit was on the line.
He forgot to mention that was all on credit cards because at the time we was broke. We didn't have any money. So we went, long story short, this first mentor, it was like a big company. It wasn't like one mentor, it was a big company. They teach you how to extend your credit line so that you can essentially pay for their program. And we didn't learn anything from that program, but like you said, we were very persistent. And if we're gonna bet on anything, we're gonna bet on ourselves. So the first mentor, we didn't do a lot of due diligence. The second mentor, we grilled him. We did a lot of due diligence. He asked questions. We wanted to speak to a lot of his students. And we felt and we prayed, and God was like, "Hey, this is the person that can help you guys get what it is that you want to get." And we put that $15,000 on the credit card, and once you do that first deal, you forget about the money that you spent on the mentorship because it's proof of concept. Right. This is real. I can actually do it.
Definitely. So you got the first couple of deals. You got some proof of concept. You got some confidence. Where do things go? Do you continue wholesaling for some time after that?
So our first year, and my brother kind of touched on it at the beginning. Well, no, we've been blessed in that this just happened because of our work ethic and us staying at it. So year one, we focused primarily on wholesale.
All we did was wholesale.
Year two, we primarily did fix and flips. And the way we started fixing and flipping was because we wanted to make $25,000 on this wholesale deal. And the buyer that was going to buy it, he only was trying to pay us and have us net 22,000. Once we couldn't get what we wanted, that same mentor coached us and gave us the confidence to believe in ourselves to say, gosh, you can fix and flip this property. We did one turned into two, three, and it snowballed from there. So year one was wholesale, year two was fix and flips, year three was focused on primarily buying rentals. Year four, we did a ground up development project. Year five, we're just putting everything together and building out a team that can handle everything. And year five was really like starting to do Airbnbs. So every year we just constantly grown our business and done something new to continue to excel and grow.
Definitely. What was the first fix and flip like? Because you went from wholesaling, which is very transactional, right? You're signing papers, obviously following up, but in the end, you get a check. Whereas fix and flipping is a whole new world. So talk to us about what that was like starting out.
I think it's key, man.
It definitely was a whole new world.
It was a whole new world. And it's key to have the right people in your life, the right mentors, because when we didn't even want to fix and flip the house. We were just going to settle on the 22,000. But our mentor challenged us. He was like, guys, you should fix and flip the house. We said, we don't have the money. And he said, don't worry about it. I'll get you the money. We said, we don't have the contractors. He said, don't worry about it. I'll get you the contractors. Every excuse we came to him with, he came and was like, I got a solution for your excuse. So what was key though, it wasn't a big fix and flip. It wasn't a big project. The restrooms, we painted the restrooms, painted inside the house, knocked down the wall,
little roofing work,
little roof work.
Little minor stuff.
Everything was super, super basic, super, super cosmetic. I still remember we spent like $33,000 on labor and materials rehabbing the house. It was a quick flip as well. So from start to finish, it took us maybe like 60 to 70 days to get the project, like I said, from contract to sold on the back end. And we made $47,125 net profit to us on that first flip. And we got hooked. Because it was like, it's simple. I don't want to say it was simple, but you just saw like, man, we made way more money than what we would make on a wholesale deal.
Definitely. And I'm glad you mentioned this one thing you mentioned. You said it wasn't like a crazy flip, like a gut job or anything. What would you say to someone who is a new investor? They're excited, right? They're like, I want to get into it. I'm gonna fix and flip. I'm gonna do a gut rehab. I can do it. I know I can. Talk to that person.
First and foremost, make sure you have a mentor. I think that's one thing, that the right mentor. A mentor with a track record, a mentor that's actually doing receipts, that can provide receipts, that's actually doing the business, because you have so many people now that get out here on social media and they do great on social media and they make you believe them. And then you join their program, because we've heard horror stories from people that are begging us to start a program, and that people that are selling out here, they're not even doing the business. So get the right mentor. That's first and foremost. And then if you're starting out, you've never done a fix and flip, I would say what's the saying? Each to each his own. Mm-hmm. But I would not do a gut rehab. I would try to find a very simple project, something that can get your feet wet, something that's super simple, something that can help you understand the process,
that you could be in and out in 90 days.
Because a lot of people, when you get into these big projects, for us, we don't even do big projects. We did one big project and that was it. Because you increase your cost of capital. You think you're going to make 100,000 and you end up making 40,000 because of all the unforeseen events and things that's going to happen on the project. You open up one wall and you're like, dang, and you just lost 10,000 off your profit. So I would tell anybody that's just starting out, if you've never done a flip, don't try not to make your first flip a full gut job. Make it something that's super simple, something that, like my brother said, you could be in and out in like 90 days.
Because when you do something simple, it boosts your confidence. So I remember exactly how I first flipped. We put the house on the market, and in 4 days we didn't have any offers, and my heart dropped. My heart dropped because I'm like, oh, this is not happening fast enough. But when we got into that house, we got the right team, And we got through it, like I said, in about 70 days from start to finish. And it boosted our confidence. So from there, we did one flip, then we did two, then we started doing 2 and 3 at a time. Right now we have like, I think 8 or 9 houses on the books at one time.
Wow.
Excuse me.
All using none of our own money. That's the great thing about us. And that's what we've been very fortunate to be able to have the private money lenders that help us do that. So
definitely. And so as far as investors, right? I'm sure you hear it every day. I'm sure you get messages from all channels, all social media and so forth. I don't have the money. I want to invest, or I have a deal. I want to do X, Y, and Z. What do you say to that? Like, how does somebody get the money?
I know we both gonna say the same thing.
The money's the easy part.
The money is the easiest
That's the
part.
easiest part of this. That's the easiest part of real estate. If you have a deal, it will get funded. So I want to stress that as well, because yes, the money is easy, but it's easy when you have a deal. A lot of investors get properties under contract and they're not deals. The numbers are too tight. The numbers don't work. So the reason we're able to raise money and do all these deals, no money out of pocket, because we bring our investors deals. I'm talking about nice, healthy spreads. We have room for, the unforeseen. And we just make sure, again, like I said, it's a deal.
The biggest thing for us, I think that the biggest change in our business occurred when we changed our mindset from, damn, I got to find the money, to I have to find the deal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it again. I think one of the biggest things happened when we changed our mindset from I have to find the money to I have to find the deal. Because once you find the deal, everything else is going to fall in line. And we live in an age where you can post something on social media and you can raise $1 million in 24 to 48 hours. If it's obviously, it has to be a deal. So with the world that we're living in now, really, there is no excuse to not do anything. I mean, there is no excuse for you not to be successful. It's so easy because all the information is out there. All the lenders are out there. Everybody's watching what you're doing on social media. So,
but then even so, to really answer the question, one, like it was certain flips where when we first got started, we didn't have the money. So we would take a balance transfer off of a credit card. I feel like a lot of people use debt for the wrong reason. They build up consumer debt as opposed to taking that debt and leveraging it to build wealth. So for us, we were responsible. We took, those balance transfers and we used that to buy material. We used that to pay contractors, or for somebody that said, hey, I may not have good credit. We all, whether we know it or not, have 1 or 2 rich people in our family. When I say rich, I mean somebody has a 401k, somebody has a life insurance policy, somebody has a self-directed IRA that they can invest out of, but it's just on you to educate yourself so you can bring the knowledge to them so you guys can tag team and build wealth together.
Got it. I like that. I like that creativity, because some people would just stop at that, but you just mentioned a few different ideas that someone can pursue that can probably get them on the path to even more ideas by just thinking about a couple of the things you mentioned. So I do like that you mentioned that.
It's all about educating yourself. And like for us, we're big on education. We're big on understanding. We're big on, learning new ways on how we can get to what we're trying to get to. So even if we didn't have access to the private money that we have access to now, we're going to figure it out. Whether it's, like I said, getting a line of credit from a bank, pulling the balance transfer off a credit card, going to my uncle and just say, hey, uncle, I know you got $500,000 in your 401k, just sitting there doing nothing. Let me invest it for you. And instead of, paying the hard money lender, I pay you and we build wealth together.
I love that. I love that. Have you been able to get any of your extended family involved in any of your deals?
No, we don't.
Okay.
No, we don't.
We don't. But again, that just because we don't mean that other people can't.
Right.
And also though, like your direct family, well, from my understanding, it has to be like an arm's length transaction. Your mom, she can't invest in your deal. But
he's talking about retirement accounts, guys.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Make sure you
correct. Thank you.
Talking about retirement accounts, not just like
So for like a retirement account but again, there's so many different ways around that. It's so many ways that you can get your deals funded.
And when you said, oh, like I had to let that be known, that's retirement accounts, not just regular money sitting in the bank.
Definitely.
But now for us, we haven't done it, and that's not something that we want to do. And thank God that we're not in a position where we need to do it. That's not a bad thing. It's just for us, we do well because we understand one another and we understand business. So when things don't go well in the business, I don't take it personally. I don't want to lose family members because if something goes sideways, because everybody is not in the right state of mind to take a loss. So for us, we look at things completely different. So
Definitely love that. So if someone's looking for a mentor, what are a couple of things that they should consider when vetting this person? Because as you mentioned, like it's hard to know online sometimes, especially if you're somebody who's very new to, let's say, real estate, right? Like you may not really know how to differentiate one person you see on social media from another person you see. It's like, well, whose mentorship should I join? Who should I pay for this high ticket product or whatever it is? So in your opinion, based on your experience, like what are some things they should consider?
I think number one, that mentor has to provide receipts. So when people look for mentorship, what are receipts? When people look for mentorships, they need to be clear on what it is that they're trying to accomplish. So whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you need to be able to go to that mentor and say, hey, this is what I want. I want to do 5 flips this year, 10 flips this year, whatever that is. And then that mentor needs to be able to say, hey, I have the receipts, meaning I can take you to 5 houses that I'm working on now. I can show you 5 HUDs of houses that I've done. So I think that's number one. That mentor should be able to provide receipts of what it is that you're trying to get done. Number two, I think my personal opinion, I think that mentor, it's real estate specific, that mentor should be in your local market. If you want to do fixing and flipping primarily, or buy rentals in your market, because that mentor understands your market. It understands the cash flow and the returns that you should be expecting. They understand how to comp in your market.
So we differ in that as far as needing a local mentor. And the reason why we differ on that, we just hired somebody who's not local to our market. But it's a little bit different as far as what we're doing with this mentor. But for me, if somebody's able to, like you said, provide HUDs and they can show you their business and you can come out and see what they have going on, I think that's definitely a key element to having a good mentor, because I hate what's happening right now, that a lot of people are being bamboozled by some of these guys and women that are claiming to be what they're not.
Yeah. What are some what is a horror story that you've heard regarding that? Like someone who, I don't know.
Our own horror story.
Okay.
Our own.
Yeah.
We spent $55,000 and we got no return at all. Yeah. We didn't, we hired these people. They was not returning our phone calls, not returning emails. What else? They didn't teach us anything.
They didn't teach us not one thing. They gave us some documents and they sent us on our way. They were great salespeople. Mm-hmm. And for us, we were young, hungry. They saw it in our eyes that we couldn't get them. So, but we're not saying this to scare people. I definitely believe that everybody needs to do what's best for them. And I think that people definitely need to get after their dreams, but do it in the right way with the right people. Definitely. And don't let our horror stories stop you from going after what you want to do. I think that's very key that we express that.
Definitely. Something you mentioned a moment ago was taking a loss. You work with your brother because you both understand business, and if you have to take a loss, you don't take it personally. Something doesn't go wrong, you don't take it personally. I saw a post on your page, I believe it was about losing $200K. Can you talk to us more about that?
Yeah, so last year, we tried to go after some different investments and it didn't work out, to the tune of losing just over $200,000. But for us, we look at everything in a positive light, and I'm happy that it happened now, as opposed to that $200,000 being $2 million or $20 million when we continue to make more money. So we learned a lot of lessons from taking those losses, and I'm like, we had a conversation about it. We both are thrilled that it happened now and not in the future, because we learned so much about it. The biggest thing is just exactly what my brother said about vetting mentors. You need to really do real strong due diligence on everywhere that you're placing your money, and don't invest in things you don't have complete understanding of, because that was one of the issues that we had. We understood it to a certain extent, but not fully, and we lost the money. But luckily for us, we're in a position where it stung, but it didn't hurt, if you get what I'm trying to say. So we're blessed in that regard.
Definitely. Was this like a new type of like real estate deal or business
It
venture or
was
something?
nothing involving real estate. It
Nothing.
was all alternative investments because
Oh, got it.
you know, for us, we understand real estate. I know how to make a real estate investment. It was just, hey, let's diversify our portfolio.
Right.
So it was other alternative investments that we wanted to get into.
Mhm.
Everything looked good up front. Everything looked good, but everything that glitters not gold.
Right.
The biggest thing though, I think if any lesson needs to be learned from this is two things. Number one, do heavy due diligence and make sure you understand what it is, and make sure you have your documentation correct. So our lenders, they're comfortable loaning us all of the money that they loan us because they have the proper documentation.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked one, I'm like, why we gotta sign the same documents every single time? Because everything is well until it's not.
Yeah.
You guys return our money until you don't. So we need to make sure that every single thing, every deal that we fund for you guys, you have the proper documentation in place in case things do go wrong. Because you really think about it, at any point, at any point in somebody's life, they can go through something and become a different person. I'm not saying that's who we are, but that happens, and we've seen it happen.
But the biggest thing I think people need to understand is investment equals risk. Yeah. If somebody tells you that, hey, you can invest your money with me and I guarantee you're going to get your money back, you need to turn and run the other way. Because I don't care whether you're investing in real estate, you're investing in crypto, you're investing into a business, investment equals risk. Some things are much lower on the risk scales than other, but understanding that there's a possibility that you can lose your investment.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Loving this. So wholesaling, then fix and flipping, then you get into rentals. Talk to us about what that transition was like, because it's a whole nother new world again. Some similarities, and you can take elements and the skills from wholesaling, fixing and flipping into rentals. But tell us about that transition.
We kind of had another mentor that pushed us in that direction. I won't even say that. It was just it was a deal that was an amazing deal. The property, I remember like yesterday when we brought it, it was worth like 145, and we purchased it for 60,000, and we only had to put 13,000 into it. And at the time, we got $1,300 in rent return. So for us, it was really a no-brainer deal. And I think one of the things that benefits us so well is we never bite off more than we can chew. And that was another example of it. From the first fix and flip to buying this rental, it was a great deal where the stars aligned, as they say. So we had to buy that deal because we were thinking about wholesaling. It's like, you know what? We're going to start buying rentals. We got some cash. Lender loaned us 100% of the purchase price, and we had to put up $13K at that time, and we was able to get the deal done. We still actually own that rental to this day.
But one thing I want to get across to the audience is right now we're in all aspects of real estate, but every year we became an expert at different exit strategies. So year one, we became an expert at wholesaling. We did 20-something deals that first year. So we understood how to wholesale the deal. Year two, we did well over 20 flips. So we became an expert. I mean, I wouldn't say an expert, but the point I want to make is like we wasn't just bouncing from one thing to the next. It was just putting the right systems and processes in place so that the wholesaling can continue while we fix and flip. Then the fix and the flip can continue while we were buying rentals, so on and so forth.
Are you looking for a community of like-minded individuals and access to experts in real estate? Yeah. Are you interested in real estate but need more support and guidance? You know who it is. The Black Real Estate Dialogue presents the Real Estate Investing Community. No matter how much or how little real estate experience you have, we've created a community for you because your perspective is important. All right, tell me, where's the number one place where you can do Q&A with experienced guest speakers 2 times per month? How about unlimited access to past guest speakers' recordings? What about a private Slack channel to engage in daily discussion with everybody in the community to share resources and support each other? Head on over to blackrealestatedialogue.com. That's blackrealestatedialogue.com. It's the real estate investing community presented by the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Come join us today.
Success is when preparation meets opportunity, right? Year 3, we wasn't trying to buy rentals. It's just we was prepared to do it, and the opportunity puts itself out there for us. Even for our first development project, we wasn't prepared for that, but the right opportunity fell into our lap, and we was prepared for it. So I think if you're working or you're working and you're pursuing a goal, I truly believe everything lines up the way that it's supposed to if you're doing what you need to do. If you're not cheating the system.
Definitely. So at that point, you got the wholesaling, fixing and flipping. Were you still doing those while you got into rentals? So you're doing all three at that point?
Good point. So yeah, we're even to, I mean, yeah, good question. Even until this day, we still have, right now, we still doing wholesale deals. We got a few fixing and flips on the board. We have 3 Airbnbs that we're working on. We're still buying rentals. So we're doing it all.
Definitely.
But again, like I said, we put a process in place so we can wholesale these deals and make sure that with the wholesaling is going well.
We are like our return is infinite because we have no money in these deals. And some of these deals, we pick them up. I'll give you a great example. We picked up a deal, 165,000. We put 2,000 into it, and that 2,000 was basically cleaning it out. And what we changed the vanity or something in that. Like we cleaned it out and changed the vanity.
Which house?
The one in Coconut Creek.
Yes.
Clean it out, put a vanity in it.
No. We changed. He don't deal with the fixing. We changed the toilets. We changed all the toilets in the house.
So we changed the toilets. Yeah. We cleaned it out. And we brought it for 165, put 2K into it, and we sold that deal for like 310, 320, or 320, whatever the name is. Yeah. But so for us, it doesn't make sense for us to wholesale anymore. Now that we have unlimited capital, it's just finding the deals at this point.
So we wholesale nationwide. So the deals and markets that we don't have a crew in, we will wholesale it. But deals like in most parts of the state of Florida and parts of Carolina, we'll take those deals down and fix and flip them.
Got it. So it seems like you've mastered how to source deals, how to find deals, how to get deals into your funnel. And is it at that point you decide based on the numbers what to do with it?
Correct. So I think well, you made a great point. The key to this business is sourcing deals. We become really good at sourcing deals. So once you have the deals, everything else works itself out. But yes, to answer your question, once that deal comes into our pipeline, the end goal is to buy cash flow. We want the cash flow. So if we can keep it and it's going to be a great rental for us and it's going to cash flow really well, we want to keep that property. But once it comes in, we make that decision, and just based off the data that we've set for ourselves to say, hey, what makes sense for us, then we make that decision.
I think the biggest thing though is you got to become an expert at one thing first, because we both look back at all the deals that we had that were great Airbnbs. I'm talking about let's focus on Airbnbs. Great Airbnbs. I'm talking about stuff on the beach that we was buying, that we had under contract for $250,000 less than what it's really worth. But for us, luckily, we were patient and we said, you know what, this is not our wheelhouse. Let's make sure we're focusing on what we're focusing on before we jump to the next thing. So now we're learning the Airbnb game and taking our business to the next level. But we got great at one thing, and then we got great at the next thing, then the next thing, and we waited our time. We was patient. I think the biggest issue with a lot of people in society is that they don't want to be patient. They want to get to where we are 5 years in and $2 million worth of mistakes overnight, and that doesn't happen. So I think we, as people that have an audience, needs to constantly remind people, run your own race. Run your own race, and don't try to compare yourself to don't compare your year 1 to somebody's year 5 and year 10. Because I see that happening a lot. I think a lot of people are messing up their future by doing that.
Definitely. So as far as cash flow, right? If you're looking at a property as a rental, obviously everybody has their own criteria based on the market and so on and so forth. But based on your market, what type of numbers do you want to see from a net cash flow perspective for something to be a good buy and hold rental for you guys?
So in today's market, how crazy it is to buy, we need to net, after all expenses, debt, insurance, everything, we need to net $400 per door.
So that's what we're looking at, and that's in the South Florida market. And yes, it's hard to come out of those deals that we can net that amount, but that's what we're looking for. And after owning rentals and having a substantial amount of rentals, that's where it makes sense for us to own that rental. If it's anything less than that, we'll wholesale it or fix it, flip it, and then get rid of it. Unless the only way that we would keep it and then that's the $400 per door, it has to be in a great area. Like down here in Wynwood is a hot area. So if it's one of those hot areas where we know it's constantly growing, then we'll keep it and worry about it in the future. But we're pretty much strict on that. We have to net that $400 per door.
Definitely. Definitely. And as far as the property type, do you guys like single families? Do you like multifamilies? Do you like them all?
It's numbers. If we can net that $400, it's numbers. I mean, to answer your question, we prefer multi. At this point we're in, but we'll buy a single family if we can net. And if it's close to where we already own something in, because it's easy to manage, we don't mind picking up that single family house.
Got it. And
but
as far as
all numbers, it's all numbers. If the numbers make sense, we're going to do that deal.
I think that's one thing that we need to stress. If you need to focus on the numbers and your criteria. Don't get emotional. Sometimes, you look at a deal, you really want it, and the numbers don't make sense, and you put yourself in a bad predicament because of your emotions. So just focus on the numbers is what I would definitely tell everyone.
Definitely. As far as location of your rentals, are they like close to each other in the same neighborhood? Are they kind of spread out? Do you care about that at all?
Luckily for us, it's somewhat spread out, but we have so many now where we've been able to create economies of scale where it makes sense and it doesn't really affect us that bad that they are spread out the way that they are. So yeah, to answer your question, they are kind of spread out, but luckily we have a great property manager who takes care of everything for us. I would tell you, if you are managing your own properties, you're not the owner, you are the property manager, but definitely try to have somebody else manage your property for you. That would be my recommendation. So
definitely. And roughly, like, where's the portfolio now, the rental portfolio?
As far as value?
As far as, I guess, doors.
Well, for us, our rental portfolio is worth well over $5 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's just us. That's no partners. It's me and my brother.
But the beautiful thing about it, though, within that $5 million, we got about a $2 million worth of equity. Wow. So that helps our net worth. So for us, we focus on buying great deals. Yeah. And we don't focus so much on the I guess the dollar amount, but we focus more so on what is the cash flow that is providing us.
Definitely.
Because I think one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of investors make is they say, I need 100 units, I need 200 units, I need 1,000 units, but there's no cash flow there. For us, we say we need $1 million a month of cash flow. I don't care if it's 50 doors that's giving me that $1 million. I don't care.
I think that's the biggest thing people get caught up on. Oh, I own 1,000 units. How much are you cash flowing from those 1,000 units? Because for us, I'm in business to make money. I'm a capitalist at heart. Like, I need to make money. And for us, I think that's something that we definitely pride ourselves on by not saying, oh, we own X amount. For us, we're just focused primarily on the cash flow. That's why we do this at the end of the day, to create lifestyle and freedom, and for our kids. And cash flow creates that for us. So
definitely. Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, right? Because again, like, social media, you see a whole lot of stuff, right? Yeah. And it's like, cash flow is what it's about. Like, the number of doors, it doesn't really matter. Like, are you reaching your goals? Like you mentioned, the equity you have, like, that's what it's about, Right. Like, if you have less headaches and greater cash flow, that's great, right? That's the ideal situation, right? If you can keep the doors as low as you can and still reach what you want to reach, I'm pretty sure you would take that deal.
Correct. Nah, definitely. So a lot of people, I think the biggest thing that one of our mentors taught us, we all know what we want, right? Everybody knows what they want. Or at what point in our lives do we really sit down and think about what we don't want? And for us, one of the things that we realize we don't want is we don't want a huge investor pool. We don't want to deal with a lot of people because, as I'm sure as you know, building out your network, some people are just not people that you want to do business with. Some people you don't want to pick up their phone call. And for us, that's something that we become very clear on. Like, who do we want to work with? And we only want to work with those people. So yes, we could have a bigger portfolio, but it's just at what expense? Not taking on more investors and having to take on calls that I don't want to take. Right now, I live a great life as far as the freedom that I have and not having to pick up the phone. I don't have to pick up the phone. Only person I typically got to pick up the phone for is this guy because he always calling to bother me. But I'm calling because I'm the one that do all the work. But I think people need to get clear on what they don't want. And for us, one of the things that because when we first started, and Beth said the other day, when we first started, we $1 billion under management. That was the goal. We wanted $1 billion under management. And then when you really start getting into the weeds, that the amount of time that's one thing, but also how many people do you have to talk to raise the money that you need to raise in order to acquire those deals? And once I realized I didn't want it to be my life where I'm constantly calling people, asking them for money, which is not a bad thing. There are a lot of people that make a lot of money doing that, but that's not what we wanted. So for us, we want to be in control of our time. And I have to pick up the phone and say, okay, here's your investor report for this quarter. So again, I think people need to get clear on what they need to get clear on what it is that they want, and then they make the decisions based off that.
Definitely. So Miami market is hot right now. And it seems like over the years, you're seeing the headline, Miami real estate and just Miami in general. You guys have been there your whole life. Like what is your perspective, right? Because you obviously you grew up there, you have ties there, and now you've been investing there and in the real estate world for the last 5 years. So tell us more about your perspective on the changes that you've seen, and yeah, I would love to hear more about that.
My perspective is I'm upset. I had a house 2 years ago. I sold the house for $425,000. That same house in 2 years is worth $750,000.
No way.
Yes, that is
the idiot.
That is
never sold it.
That is the Miami market in one sentence for you. I had a house 2 years ago, $425,000, and it's now worth $750,000 in 2 years. It's crazy down here. With the amount of people that are moving down here is absolutely insane. Some of the values, some of the stuff that we were buying in the hood, 2 years ago, we was reselling this. After we fixed up the house, we was reselling the house for $300,000. In the hood right now in Miami, you're buying that same house for $300,000. Stuff that we was renting literally a year ago, we can only get $1,200 in rent. A year ago. This year, $1,600 in rent. Easy. Wow. All day, easy. That's the Miami market. And obviously it was never like that, but the pandemic helped everybody see the greatest city in the world, and everybody's moving here. And now it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing for people that can't afford it, because I truly see, we just posted about this the other day, the real deal says the Miami market is what, the number one least affordable.
I saw that, yeah.
In the country now. So I have family members and friends that's really negatively affected by it, but such is life, and everybody got to do what they got to do. So.
Definitely. Have you found it since in the last 2 years, has the deal flow been different? Has it been easier to find deals? Has it been harder to find deals? What's been your experience in Miami?
I'm not gonna lie and say it's the easiest. It has gotten a little tougher. Because again, Miami is a market where everybody wants to be in. So we're not just dealing with Miami investors, we're dealing from international money as well. People that want to get their money out of their corrupt countries, and they just want to park it into a hard asset. So I'm competing with this guy who's making an offer. He doesn't care because he just wants his money out of his country. But to answer your question, it's gotten much tougher to pick up deals. But for us, we don't look at it that way. We just say, hey, we got to pivot. Okay, what direction do we go in? How do we continue to scale the business and grow the way that we want to grow? And still deal with being in this Miami market. So for us, we still definitely buy down here. We want to buy down here, but we look at other markets as well. So that's hence why we do nationwide wholesaling. So the wholesaling keeps the cash flow going, so that when we get an opportunity to buy a rental, even though we rarely put money into these deals, that provides us with the money to put into some of these deals that we're doing. And also we do buy a good amount of fix and flips and rentals still, but it's tougher to come across those deals. And could our portfolio be worth more than just shy of $5 million if the market was different? Yes, because we want to buy, but we are not emotional. We want to stick to those numbers and those parameters that we set. This is our buying criteria, and that's what we're going to stick to. So plus, we also are looking for unicorns. Like, I'm not buying bad deals. It's rare to see us buy a property to keep it as a rental if it's more than 75% of the appraised value. But we're still buying and finding deals like that. Yes, it's tougher, but those are the type of deals that we're looking for.
Definitely. Where else do you guys wholesale?
Nationwide, throughout the entire country.
Okay, literally everywhere.
Yeah.
We got 2 deals in South Carolina now, one in Pennsylvania, one in Alabama, Kentucky, Illinois, like Mississippi, anywhere we get a deal in, we're gonna do that deal.
Wow. Do you have like a team helping out with the wholesaling? Like, how's it currently structured?
We have 2 acquisitions people now. So 2 people that close. Well, soon we have to add another one within the next couple of weeks. We have a transaction coordinator. So once the contract comes in, she deals with that, getting it from contract to closing. We have somebody like a leads manager who deals with the older leads.
And then we have five cold callers, and then we have an operations manager who deals with like everything from an operations standpoint.
And then we also have like an outsourced marketing person who does a lot of our online marketing. So a team of whatever they equate to, like a team of 13, 14 people. So
got it. Sounds like a well-oiled machine.
Well, now we're working to get there. You know, it always can be better. And you know, just one of the biggest things that I would definitely tell people is that make sure you have great people on your team. If somebody's not great, get rid of them. They're not going to get better. It's only going to hold the team down. And that was one of the things that we've struggled with for the longest. Being good-hearted people, you tend to keep people that are not the best for the team. So for us, one of the things that we're learning is how to attract those A players, because the team with the best players win. And you know, we're almost at that point where our team is full of A players. And once it gets to that point, then we'll become that well-oiled machine. I got to get rid of this guy first.
I mean, but the key is like for the audience, like I want to say this: we don't have all our shit together. Excuse my language. We make mistakes. We make bad hires. So I
make bad decisions.
I don't want people to listen to this and be like, "Man, we got everything together," because we don't.
That's why I correct you. It's not a well-oiled machine.
We don't. We want it. That's what we're working to get to. That's what we want to be. And eventually we will get there. But I did want to put that out there. Like we want to get there, and we will get there, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. Hey, I respect the transparency, and that's what we want to see on this platform, because you know there's a lot of good, but throughout this interview we've talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly, which people need to know if they want to get into this business. So I appreciate that.
And for us, bro, we want to be open books. We want to let people know exactly what it's like, because like I really don't like the world that we're living in right now where everything is perfect. That's like, I believe in God. God is the only perfect person, a perfect spirit, whatever, in the world. But everybody's portraying that on social media. For us, one of the things that we stand on is that we want people to know exactly what it's like in our life. And it's not perfect. It's far from it. We're business partners and we're brothers. Part of being brothers, we fight. And obviously it ain't no fist fight, because I don't want to beat him up no more. But like we're just like regular partners and brothers.
You don't even believe that. You don't even believe that.
But you know, we go. If I can leave the audience with anything as far as this segment, we go through the same thing you guys go through. We waking up every single day and trying to figure out life the same way that you guys are trying to figure out life. It's no different. Don't think anybody that's worth way more than you or that looks like they got it all put together, they don't. Because we know a lot of billionaires and millionaires, and they don't got it all together. Nobody does. Every day, everybody's waking up and trying to figure it out the same way that you are.
Definitely. So as far as the roles that you two play in the business, like what does it look like? Is one of you focused on a certain aspect, the other one focused on a different aspect? How's it currently split up?
Man, if you have a business partner, make sure you guys have clear roles and responsibilities. That was something that hindered us our first 2 years. We didn't have the clear roles and responsibilities. He was doing stuff that I was doing, and it was just really a huge waste of time.
And just stepping on each other's toes. So now, like you said, it's clear. Like I'm in charge of our dispositions. I'm in charge of project managing our rehabs. I'm in charge of project managing our Airbnbs. What I say goes when it comes to those decisions, or when it comes to those parts of the business. Do I get his input on stuff? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I make the final decision. And then vice versa, when it comes to acquisitions, when it comes to legal, when it comes to finances, he runs that. And I give him my input, and he manages our property manager. I give him my input on things, but if that's the decision he feels is best for the company, then that's what we go. The key thing though is, like we always say, you got to be clear on what it is that you want. Our vision is clear. We know what we want. We know our visions align. So we make the decision that fits best within that vision of what we're trying to get to.
And do we always agree? No, because there's certain things that he does that I'm like, why are you doing it? Like that's unnecessary. And we get into heated arguments sometimes, and then I reduce my pride and say, you know what, that's his decision to make. yes, we own this company 50-50, but that's his decision. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong because they don't know how to remove the ego. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that he does, but at the end of the day, he's making the decision that he feels is best, and that's the only way you can really grow a company.
Definitely. So I know part of what you do as well is Airbnb, which is like the talk of the town right now. Everyone is trying to get into Airbnb. So tell us more about that and some things you learned.
I'm gonna be, again, just being transparent. This is something we don't like. We have 3 right now that we're working on. They're not up and running. One should be up and running probably in the next 2 weeks. Then we have 2 more that we already purchased and are being renovated. Again, this is essentially a new business for us. As Airbnb is not real estate, it's hospitality.
Yeah.
So it's a different view. It's a different way to run that business. So we've hired, a consultant. We've put together, not put together, but we have some friends that are crushing it, who's guiding us along the way. Like we're near the experts in the Airbnb game, but we do know that's a space that we want to be into. So the goal for this year is we want to buy 10. We have 3 now, and we want to have 10 by the end of this year.
And when we say 10, we mean 10 that we own, because we're not believers in the arbitrage, and we're not trying to knock it, but that's just us. Like for us, we believe in controlling the asset,
owning the real estate.
Owning the real estate.
Definitely. As far as like location, how did you settle on the location for the ones that you're working on right now? From the Airbnb perspective, was it different than you would for a rental, or is it a situation where it could work as both if worse comes to worse?
Great question. So we wanted to be in areas where, one, areas that we believe in. That's number 1. Number 2, an area that's going to continue to grow and appreciate the value. And then 3, the most important is, where is the money?
Yeah.
So we look at the data, we make the decisions based off the data and say, hey, this is the money. These are the areas where you can make the most money. So that's really how we made those decisions.
And luckily for us, was he leaving out all 3 of these Airbnbs. For us and what we're trying to get to, they won't be life-changing, but we can live a great lifestyle just off these 3 Airbnbs, which helped us say yes. Because one of them, I do feel like we overpaid for it just a little bit, not much, but because of the areas that they're in and knowing the potential that they have and seeing the data, it made 100% sense. 100% sense to go out and acquire these properties, because all 3 of them are in the best areas in South Florida, like all 3 of them. So it made complete sense.
For sure. So new construction. You mentioned that you've done a new construction deal. Did you see that as kind of blending all of the experiences you've had together, or was it again like something completely new from what you've done before?
It was completely new that our mentor kind of pushed us towards, and I'm happy he did, because I don't know about him, we never had this conversation, but I like new construction more than almost anything.
Yeah,
it's easier to deal with. There is no, you open up a wall and you don't know what's around the corner of that wall, and your costs are pretty much set, pretty much. So you kind of know for certain what your return is going to be after you run the numbers. Whereas that's not the case with fix and flip. You think you may make 50, 60,000 on a deal, but something comes up, you're messed up. The same with a rental. You think you're going to make $400 to $500 per month in cash flow, and if it's older building, your repair maintenance budget goes out of whack for a month or 2, and then $400 to $500 now turns into a loss. With new construction, you shouldn't have really any maintenance and repairs, and the cost is pretty much set, and you know exactly what the outcome is going to be most of the times. The only way that can be messed up is by the government, but other than that, I like new construction more than anything. So we're actually getting started on our second project where we're going to build the triplex, and we're looking for more opportunities to buy. But down here in South Florida, there's not much land available. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's tougher to come by land down here, but we definitely want to do more new builds, because I like that.
Definitely. Are you thinking like other parts of Florida or other states in general where there's more land?
Definitely other parts of Florida. It's a county that we're very excited about. I won't say it right now, but it's a county that's a little bit further north of Miami, and it's growing, and that's definitely, it has a lot of opportunity. So
definitely. I have another question about Florida in general. So obviously, like Miami is popping right now. And do you find that suburbs and places like that are a little bit, maybe an hour or two, are people starting to migrate further out? Like, what trends are you seeing right now?
I mean, there anywhere around. If you mean Florida or Miami?
Both.
Bro,
So
anywhere in Florida.
Anywhere in Florida, like, because people are moving here. Like,
Yeah.
we see statistics. I think they said 1,000 people a day are moving here
Are
to
you
Florida.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you think about it, Tampa, Zillow just ranked Tampa as the #1 market in the country. You have
Really?
Miami up. Yes, Tampa is according to Realtor.com and Zillow, Tampa is the #1 market as far as real estate. So you think about that's the west coast of Florida.
Yeah.
And then there's the part that most people it won't get a lot of talk about it because it's a little town, but Cape Coral. Cape Coral was a town that had a bunch of land, and now the development has exploded there because it's not anywhere else that you can buy. So
Wow.
almost anywhere in Florida that you're going to be spending a pretty penny to get into this market. It's just everything is so much more expensive because everybody wants to live here. The weather, the taxes.
Our governor is amazing. He yeah. So,
but
Wow.
we're seeing it everywhere, regardless of where it is. Like you're going to have to overpay. Like it's stuff.
Whether it's the suburbs or in the city,
you're overpaid.
Wow.
Everything. Even middle income America, the stuff that we deal with, we're getting what 15, 20,000 above appraised value on every contract on every property that we list. Those are the offers we're getting. It's crazy right now. Crazy times.
Wow. So it's not only Miami, it's the whole state of Florida is on fire.
Oh yeah, the whole
yeah.
state. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Wow. So, man, this has been a masterclass. This has been a masterclass tonight. Man. So what does the future look like? You know, obviously y'all have built the business very methodically, like just learning something new, getting good at it and adding on to it. And so what does the future look like?
Obviously we want to continue to grow our real estate business, continue to grow our portfolio. We're at a point now where we just want to buy cash flow. So that's buying more rentals, doing more Airbnbs, and then also investing in other businesses and opportunities that's going to provide us the cash flow. Because I don't want to be the guy that's working 80, 90, 100 hours a week. That's just not the lifestyle we want. We both have kids, we both have a family, and we want to be there to support our family. So in order to do that and live the lifestyle we want, you got to have the cash flow to be able to sustain that lifestyle. So anything that not anything, but any way we can buy positive cash flow, that's what we want to be involved in. So more real estate, investing in businesses, and probably because a lot of people have been asking us to do some real estate mentorship. So that's one thing that we've been praying about. And that's probably another thing that we're probably going to do in the near future as well.
Definitely. I mean, I think you guys can be good at it, you know, whatever offering you want to have, you know, because of your story, you know, like, you know what it's like to invest a large sum of money and get nothing out of it. And you know what it's like to invest money and get something out of it too.
But I'll be transparent. Like for us, it's the imposter syndrome. Sometimes you feel like I haven't done it, to teach somebody else. Yeah. So that's why I'd say that's something that we're praying about to say, hey, God, if this is something that you want us to do, you lead us in that direction. Because I mean, again,
the world will look at it and say, you got super successful. You're 30, you own real estate, you guys have a great cash flowing business, you guys have it all put together. But just like everybody else, sometimes I ask myself, number one, is that what I want to do? And two, do I have the ability to really do that? Because I don't feel like I'm the most articulate person, and I don't explain things the best, at least in my mind. I could be 100% wrong. So for us, it's just sharing that, you know, reaching the level of success we have, being millionaires, we still struggle with some things that the everyday person would struggle with. And I'm not saying everybody's everyday person, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think you can do it.
We got to keep
praying.
I got to keep praying. I appreciate that though. Thank you.
Of course. Man, so whole lot of game in this interview. Whole lot of gems and good tips. From each of you, what is one thing that you would leave with the listeners, people who want to get into real estate, all the information out there, what's one thing each of you would give to them as advice?
I give this same piece of advice every time somebody asks that question. And for me, you're not a product of your environment, you're a product of your thoughts. As a man thinketh, so is he. If you think you can't do it, you're not going to be able to do it. But if you think you can, and you put action behind that, you can get it done.
Mine says, run your own race. Don't compare yourself to nobody else. Don't be looking on Instagram and saying, oh, they got this, they got that. Because you don't know if they actually got it or not. Especially living out here in scam capital of the world. So run your own race and don't compare yourself to anybody, regardless of how old you are. If you're 50 and you're watching this interview, you see us 30, don't be like, oh man, I wish I can go back. No, you still have time in your life to go and figure things out. So don't compare yourself to anybody. Run your own race, do your own thing.
Definitely. And where can people find you, keep up with what you have going on?
Instagram is the best place. The Mathis Twins. I'm sorry, at Mathis Twins. That's MATHISTWINS. Mathis Twins. That's our Instagram handle. That's the best way. We respond to every DM. So if you guys want to reach out to us on Instagram and send us a DM.
If you got deals, again, he the twin that don't work. If you got deals, send it to us. Goodbye.
I'm the one that sits in the back and that controls everything. You know that guy.
Fellas, really, really appreciate you two jumping on the show tonight. I'm excited to play this back. I'm excited to put this out soon. But definitely appreciate you two.
No, I appreciate you for having us, man. Thank you so much for allowing us to share our story and be transparent with your audience. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And one thing, kudos to you for what you're doing. I know you're changing lives. I listened to a few episodes, and what you're doing is really transformational to people. So you guys need to make sure you're watching everything that he's putting out, because it is life-changing. He is getting real people on his podcast. Thank you so much for what you're doing. It's needed, especially in our community.
It means a lot, man. Definitely appreciate it. And appreciate everyone for listening to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Definitely, please do leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Appreciate your support. Look forward to hearing from you all soon.
Hi everyone, Sam here from the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Make sure to hit that notification bell and that subscribe button, and to visit us at blackrealestatedialogue.com.